is.
What's the
We
coolest project you are working on right now?
coolest project I'm working on right now. Interesting. It's a commercial building actually. Maybe I'm not, in the liberty of
Talking about it.
yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Rui. I can hear you.
Hi. Oh, okay, great.
Cool.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yes, great.
Nice. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you in Doha right now?
Yes, Doha, Qatar.
Nice. Very nice. I'm so glad that you've been able to participate to one of our episodes.
Oh yes, definitely. It's quite exciting actually.
Yeah, for us as well. I mean,
yeah, it's interesting actually. When Ilyas told me about it, I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
we're trying to basically talking with people from all over the world and asking and understanding how they are facing the situation. I'm talking about the COVID-19 situation.
Oh
And
yeah.
it is interesting because we are doing it since 1 month now. So in time, we are seeing the different changes that are going on in different countries of the world during this time.
So is it like different in every country?
It is. I mean, there's a lot of common points, but also small differences that are interesting to see because I think they also characterize those specific country, how they are facing and reacting to the situation.
Yeah, that's true.
Rui, let me give you an idea just super quickly. So basically,
Okay.
this is the 7th episode of the 2nd season of this Worldwide Design podcast. So we've been interviewing a lot of people. Along with me is Marco Fontana, which is a creative director of Tecnografica and will live hand draw during this session.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd like to start right away and asking if you can give us an introduction of yourself, who you are, and what is your job and your profession.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Ruhi Basir. I am living in Doha, Qatar since the past 30 years, maybe. But I am originally Indian. I'm not from Qatar. I'm not a Qatari. I'm working with the Arab Engineering Bureau. It's a very well-established and one of the top construction architecture design companies in Doha. We have a lot of projects and we do like architectural, landscape, everything, interior design. So I'm with them since 2.5 years now, and it's pretty good. It's good. It's like a lot of exposure in all the fields. Although I'm in the design department, but I get to work with all the disciplines. So it's like a wide exposure. You get like a little bit of everything. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I guess it is, and also I think can help you a lot in growing in different fields and having experiences in different fields. And so, how is this situation influencing your job, and how influenced it so far? And how is Doha reacting to the situation?
Actually, when it all started, Doha has been really calm. Qatar, basically the government, they have this tendency not, to panic the people. And any situation that we fall under, they take it really like, calmly. So we've never really had like a lockdown. So all the offices and everyone, like everything is still functioning. But I mean, people are working from home, most of us. But like we just had like curfews not to go out in like certain times or whatever. But work-wise, we were always, we have 20% of our staff still going to work, and the rest are working from home. It is quite challenging because like in our profession, I'm working in a site right now, and I have to approve materials and samples for hardwares or doors, glass. So for that, I need to go to the site. You know, in terms of drawings, it's fine. Like we can just send in the drawings. We are like connected to the server, to our office, so that's easy. And we have like an internal messenger, so we can chat with each other and we can communicate. But I like personally, I feel it is quite challenging, and it is difficult being in a field where you need to interact with your clients, with the disciplines, like
touch products and materials.
Yes, exactly. It's you need to feel the material, you need to see it to actually approve it. And also, like, when you take pictures of it, it's really different when you see it in real and when you just see a picture. So I think that way it's quite
challenging.
Yes, it is very.
Definitely. I mean, I think this is one of the most difficult thing to do in our field in this specific moment. And how do you think, for example, companies should change in order to better serve professionals like you in these situations? I'm talking, for example, about sampling, how to get those samples arrive to you so that you can check them and you can approve them. Or it is something that you think that it will go back to normal in maybe a few months, in a few weeks?
I think it will go back to normal, but if it takes longer. The thing is, the process of approving samples, it's like in Doha, it's not just like it comes to me and I approve it. It has to go to the client as well. Like, it has to come from the contractor, then it has to come to me, then if I approve it, then it has to go to the client. I think it's like a really long, it could go around in circles.
Ping pong situation sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And if the client does not like it, it comes back to me. And I personally feel like in our field, it's when you interact personally, when I sit with the client, the outcome is very different from when I'm talking to him on the phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And talking about this, I was really interested in understanding your opinion on how do you think smart working is actually working for professionals of the interior design field? Do you think that you are managing, for example, to work in this way? It is affecting your work. It is influencing how you do your profession.
I think it's doable. We're not very much affected, except for even for the materials. We're just like somehow approving it. Like once a week or something, I go to the site and all the materials are like thrown at me, and then I approve. But besides that, I think we're managing it. It's not that difficult. It's doable, because we have all the softwares are online. Everything is, we have CAD, we have 3D Max. So the visual aspects, it's all right. It's not that difficult. It's just the material that's a little tricky.
I mean, those technologies were already there. I'm talking about simulation or rendering programs or video chat application like the one that we are using right now. Do you think that these will be tools that will be pushed more and more in the future, and people will use it more and more, even in our field? And how this will change our sector?
Yeah, I think it's going to, because already we are having like all my meetings and everything is, through Zoom, online, everything. And but you know, like when we're working on bigger projects, like we're doing one really big project, and we had like around 15 people in, you know, the meeting online. It
Yeah.
was really difficult.
Oh
Like, you
yeah.
know, the meeting could have been for an like 1 hour meeting. It went on for 3 hours, because like you need to wait for the other person to talk, and
Yeah.
then you need to, you know, like hold on to your questions, and it is quite difficult.
Yeah.
I feel it's better we have these acrylic panels where,
Yeah.
you know, you can face each other and have the meeting.
Now, I'm thinking when you do this type of conversation with 10, 15 people, there's always someone who is blocking, someone is
Yeah,
blurring, someone else you don't know if it's there or it's just a picture. So it's
yeah,
not so
and then
easy as it seems.
you have to keep repeating sometimes what you say because someone else can't hear, or you know, you
Yeah.
get interrupted. So the meeting just went on for so long. It was just, I don't think it was very practical, actually, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that we need to improve from this point of view. And of
Yeah.
course, it is different when you do a meeting and you are 20 people in just one room. You're explaining things and people are understanding, making questions.
Hmm.
Now it's more difficult because it's not so easy to stay in the same room together with 20 people very close to each other. At least in this first moments. Maybe in the future it will change, I hope.
Yeah, let's hope so. How it goes, actually, we don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, in Italy here, we have been impacted pretty bad, but we are coming out to this situation maybe before other countries because we started before other countries in terms of
Yeah.
the epidemic. So I'm seeing now that day by day is actually changing. Week by week is changing, and people are slowly starting to go back to normal, even though maybe
Mhm.
some attitudes or some habits will change a bit in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
And how
But
about, sorry,
yes, go ahead, go ahead.
no, my question to you was how do you think your type of projects or in general interior design projects such as offices projects or hotel projects, private houses, residential projects will change and will be affected by this pandemic that
Yeah, it is actually already affecting. Like, we just got a new project for a supermarket where the client is, you know, they're asking us to specify products, even wall paints that has, you know, these hygienic, you know, paint,
yeah.
or you know, flooring that is, you know, everything that needs to be into that hygiene category. And uh, we did this exercise in my office, I think 2 weeks back, where we made a list of all the manufacturers that we know of that have, you know, their walls or the paint, ceiling and flooring that have these properties which are, you know, mostly that we use for maybe hospitals or laboratories. But like now they even want it in supermarkets. Like they want everything to, you know, even residential. Actually, we had one of our clients requesting. I had actually asked Ilyas also about it, if they
Yeah,
have, you know, any paints or any wallpapers, you know.
I think that right now there's a lot of company will push from from this point of view on
Definitely.
hygienic materials and
Yes.
because more and more people are asking for it.
Yeah.
It
And I think it's going to go into being a norm, you know. So when you specify something, you know, it needs to be hygienic somehow, you know,
definitely,
some properties of it.
yeah, it would be a new normal standard, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, uh, yeah. In fact, if you go to a barber shop here in Italy lately, you go there
Mhm.
and it looks like entering in a super high level hospital. They're giving you gloves,
Oh,
masks,
yeah.
and they have protection, and so
Oh,
it's
they have to sanitize
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, 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 definitely.
Also
Here
because
as well, actually.
if there are some problems, if someone gets sick in one of the facilities in a barber shop, for example, they are forced to close. So
Oh,
that's why they are looking a lot on this, as you said, hygienic and safe
Okay.
regulation, I guess. So maybe this could be an interesting thing for companies as well to invest on this type of products.
Yeah, you know, like how when everyone was like going all crazy about recycling,
Yeah.
and you know, so all the products have to have this certification ISO.
Yeah.
Now I think there needs to be, you know, they might come up with the certification for these hygienic factors that, you know,
Definitely.
all products have. Yeah, and it's a good thing. I think it's good.
Yeah, it's leveling up the standards, like for yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and another interesting topic that I usually talk about during these interviews, and I was interested to know your opinion as well about, is the digital revolution that is helping us to connect better during this situation as well. How do you think Doha and Qatar in general is? Um, what is the level of Qatar in terms of digital transformation, and how do you think our sector, the interior design sector, is using these tools to improve the jobs?
Actually, quite frankly, for Doha, it's quite recent, you know, because it is not as advanced as all the other developed countries that we know of. But since Doha is developing like at a very fast rate than, you know, most of the countries, because now we have the 2022 coming up, the World Cup. So, you know, they are rushing into bringing everything that they can possibly. But like, uh, in the recent years, I think it's really slow, but it's there. Mostly the new projects have these, you know, interactive screens or high-tech, you know, computers or whatever. But currently, if you ask me, we don't have so much of it, like, because it's like it falls under, I think, like a developing country.
Mm-hmm.
It's developed, but it's still developing, you know. And people here, we've never really been exposed to a lot of, you know, these high-tech stuff, you know, that like when I travel, I see, you know, how everything is, you know, in the metros, and when you go into shopping malls, you have these big screens and all. Doha does not have all that. It's coming up. Like if you go into new malls, you know, we have like one or two, you know, these big malls that
Mm-hmm.
are here. So you could see in those, and few of the projects that I worked in that are not done, so they're like really new. So for those we have like, you know, specifications or, you know, requests from the client that they need this kind of technology and everything like that. So it's coming up. It's
Okay.
slow, but it's coming up. Yeah.
And what about technologies used for advertising? For example, I'm talking about thinking
Yeah.
about social media. From the point of view of companies like yours, are you using these tools to find new clients, find new partners, to advertise your work?
In terms of advertising, I think they are using like, you know, they have these the virtual reality
Uh-huh. Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that's coming up. That is something actually that is really, you know, doing good over here, because you know, like our clients mostly, you know, they like to see, you know, how the space looks. So that's what we do in like when we have a big client,
Mm.
instead of just like doing a presentation and showing them just the perspectives. Uh, we do create like one or two rooms, you know, with this virtual reality to give them an idea of how it's actually going to be. And in terms of actually getting the clients, I think the marketing department that we have, the lady who works there, she's really good at her job. But, you know, mostly in Doha, it's all about contacts, you
Mm.
know, and the networking that you have.
So personal relations.
Yes, less of advertisements, but it's more on the networks and the contacts that you have over here. Because it's like a small country, and like you would probably, you know, like come across people you might, you know, you think you would never meet them, but you
Yeah.
just bump into them, you know. It's quite a small place. Advertising is coming up, but it's not quite there yet.
Especially I guess in close circle like the ones of the interior design professionals or architectural professionals, you basically know all each other, and you know the
Yeah,
as in
you
the
have,
other close sector.
yeah, exactly. You have an idea about, uh, at least like, the top management
Yeah.
people who are working here, who are working there, and yeah. So, and thankfully, AEB is well established. So most of the time, we get projects coming our way like on their own,
Okay. So
because of the reputation that we already have.
definitely, this is
Yeah.
always very helpful because it's people coming to you and not the contrary.
Yeah, not the other way around. Yeah. So it's quite yeah, we're blessed actually in
It
that
is,
way.
yeah. It means that you've been worked pretty good in the past, and you have a name now.
Yeah, exactly.
What about traditional vendors? Do
True.
do you think that this is a conversation that is a topic that is going on for some years now, and yeah, I think depending on the countries, there's a different type of answer to this question. I'm talking about traditional vendors and how do they have to change in order to keep on track with these new technologies, as for example, rendering simulation, virtual reality simulation, as you were saying. Do you think that people will still need to go and visit a vendor, for example, and see materials for real, or they will be more on using digital technologies, internet, virtual reality tools?
I think if I mean, technology it just keeps advancing at a rate that we don't even understand sometimes. And you could probably, approve a material or a texture just by looking at it, maybe, as the technology grows. But like how I said, you still need to feel it, sometimes. Like, I think the physical aspect of materials, it's really important, like how it feels, how it
Yeah,
actually looks, like how I said, even in renders, sometimes we make perspectives and it looks different from when it's actually done. It's very, very, very rare. I mean, it is doable. Like, I have worked on projects where the perspective looks exactly, like the outcome of the
like the final job. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, but it's very rare, but and also like sometimes if you approve a material, or you use a particular material in a perspective, in a render, but that particular item is not available, or it's discontinued, and you just match it with something else, so for that also it's unrealistic to make the entire perspective all over again just because of one,
small
uh,
piece. Yeah.
one small piece. So I think for that it is essential that it just can't always be digital
Definitely.
for us at least, for design.
Probably it will be a combination of the
Yeah,
two things,
yeah,
one helping the other.
yeah, or probably like the suppliers can come up with a plan on how they can help the designers. Maybe they'll have to ship the same sample to the client
Yeah,
and the designer all at once, and it could be done at once.
yeah,
But
yeah.
again, that takes time. That takes you have to pay for the shipments and everything. So yeah.
It's changing very fast, I think, in the last years. But definitely will be always a combination of personal relation and digital advertising. Otherwise, it's impossible, I think, to go on.
Yeah.
And what about Qatar 2022? This is one of the main event in Qatar in the next future, and I think it
Yeah.
will be interesting to see how Qatar will do this, or even reacting to the COVID-19 situation that we are living. How do you see this event, and do you have some projects going on related to this event?
Yes, we do have. We have certain projects. Actually, that is one of the reasons why Qatar didn't have a lockdown, because they don't want to stop
Okay.
the project. They
Yeah.
don't want to stop the work that's going on for 2022, because it's really crucial. You stop for 3 months and then everything just piles up. So, but a lot of precautionary steps are taken in the sites and everywhere else, whoever is working in the project. So these are named as like essential projects, and we have a couple of projects that we are doing, and it's again, like how I said, it's challenging, but we're doing it. So let's hope by 2022 we're able to. Before that, actually, we're able to complete because we're very excited.
I guess
So
so. Yeah.
yeah, one of the stadium is designed by our boss,
Oh,
the
really?
owner. Yeah, the owner of AEB. So we all are pretty excited.
I guess so. I can imagine. And it is a brand new stadium that you are building for
Yes,
the World Cup.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And it's really like the design of it is really, traditional and cultural,
Okay.
to Qatar and even to Islam, because it's like the cap that the Qatari people they wear.
Mm-hmm.
They have this kind of a hat that they wear. So it's designed around it. So it's pretty interesting. You should check
Cool.
it out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And that should be. I will definitely check it out. And I'm so excited for the World Cup as well. And
Yeah, we
Italy.
all are.
Italy last time was not able to participate to the World Cup for the first time. So we're
Yeah.
actually agreeing to go in
Okay.
this next one.
Yeah.
And Rui, just to give some ideas of your visions for the Qatar future, what do you think, and how do you think Qatar will react to the situation? How do you see the country and the market in the next, let's say, 6 months, 1 year?
It's very
That's I
difficult
know it's
to.
not a simple question.
It's not. It's not at all, because actually, how Qatar has been managing everything. It's really different from any other country. Actually, like how, like we read in the news how this country has this lockdown, this country has that lockdown, and no one's supposed to go out. We've never had that. Like how I told you, there are always curfews, but we have strict laws, of course, and the law over here is, like if something is put out there, you have to follow it. They're pretty strict about that, and Qatar seems to be managing really well, uh, you know, uh, under these circumstances. So I'm hoping it should be okay. Somehow it should be okay. But I'm really praying that this just goes away, and
Yeah,
we all just go back to being normal. Because personally, I really think like we as designers like to interact and not just like going to work, meeting
yeah.
people. You need some kind of inspiration, and it's not always possible to get that when you're just sitting at home, surrounded by four walls.
Definitely. Maybe it's enough. It's okay for 1 month, or I would say two
Yeah.
at maximum. But then you actually really need to talk to people to have
Yeah.
feedbacks.
Yeah.
This will also
And,
help to
and
grow.
exactly, and our job is such that you get motivated, or you get more inspired when you talk about designs, or you talk about what's happening around. Like I I
Yeah,
I I I feel like designers, our brains are a little, different from everyone else,
yeah,
so
yeah. I would say.
we need that connection somehow.
Yeah, no, that's true. And connecting with each other and exchanging experiences is also helping to create better projects because you're combining different words together.
Yes, definitely.
But talking
Yeah.
about projects, have you seen a reduction in terms of projects in Qatar? Maybe Qatar is different, as you said, because
Yeah, because
towards Qatar
it's
22,
coming up. Yeah, we are like developing, so
yeah,
we still have projects. They've slowed down, as like like until last year, whenever we had projects, we would have like we would finish them faster. Now it is slower than what we would expect it to be, but in terms of getting projects, we do have mostly, they are like renovations or like, small spaces.
What's the
We
coolest project you are working on right now?
Coolest project I'm working on right now. Interesting. It's a commercial building actually. Um, Maybe I'm not, in the liberty
Of talking about it.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's a huge commercial, space for one of the top companies in Doha.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't say that
Like
much,
how
so you're safe.
yeah, but like how I told you, Qatar is trying to bring in these new technologies. So this particular projects, they have these, interactive screens
Okay.
and, these big computers where, you can do stuff, and then mail sorting machines and, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely towards the future and technologies. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to see them, so to see it, and also to see all the different projects that will be built for Qatar 2022. I
Yeah.
think all the world is thinking the same.
Yeah, I know. We all are like waiting.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah, hopefully.
Rui, thanks so much. I don't want to keep you too long on this interview, but it was very interesting to understand your opinion on the situation and to understand how Qatar and you are facing the situation.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so much fun. I enjoyed. It
You
was
know,
nice talking
I'm
to you
looking
too.
forward to see you in Italy. Are you coming to Milan maybe next year?
I'm
Not
not
at all.
traveling this year.
You're
I'm
not
not going to
leaving
travel
Doha
this year.
until the work is done. I guess you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, not just work. I want the COVID to like,
Okay, yeah. I guess. Because I'm talking to people also to understand how, because in Italy there's quite interesting exhibitions that are going on every year. For example, Cersaie or
Ah,
Salone del Mobile,
so
and
you
so
would still have the exhibition like at the
I,
current situation?
in Cersaie should have been done in October, has been postponed in November, but it's not certain yet. So there's a lot of uncertainty from this point of view, and also companies there don't know yet if they're doing it or not doing it. But Salone del Mobile in Milan will be
Mm-hmm.
in April 2021. So I think that
Ah,
I mean, in those days the situation will be definitely better
yeah.
and calm. Yeah, and I'm seeing that all people are seeing this event as the new era, the starting of the new era of the interior design world, seeing this as the biggest exhibition.
Oh, okay.
So maybe
Maybe.
maybe let's see.
Yeah, I've been to Italy though. I loved it.
You've been there?
I've
That's
been to Italy.
You should go. It's a nice country. I'd like to come to visit Doha as well. Maybe I'll do with Elias in the next few months
Yes, you
when
should.
we'll
You
be
should.
able
I
to.
think you would enjoy it. It's very different from Italy.
It is, but it's still interesting. Both countries are,
Yes, it is very interesting. It's amazing here.
and I guess there's also a lot of going on with this World Cup coming, so would be worth a visit definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Rui, thanks so much again. And we will update you as soon as we broadcast this episode. I think it came out
Okay.
very interesting topics for all our community, which is made by designers, architects from all over the world. And they are always inspired by these interviews and your testimony.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool. Ciao Rui. Grazie.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Ciao.